The notion that the science on climate change is a lie to manipulate Christians is a misguided and unfounded claim that has gained traction among some conservative circles. Proponents of this idea argue that climate change is a hoax perpetuated by liberal elites, scientists, and governments to control people's lives, impose draconian regulations, and undermine Christian values. However, this assertion is based on flawed assumptions, misinterpretations, and a lack of understanding of the scientific consensus on climate change. Firstly, the overwhelming majority of climate scientists agree that human-caused climate change is real, and the evidence is unequivocal. Decades of research, observations, and data analysis have consistently shown that Earth's temperature is rising, and human activities, particularly the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation, are the primary drivers of this trend. The scientific consensus on climate change is not a product of manipulation or conspiracy, but rather the result of rigorous scientific inquiry and the accumulation of evidence from multiple lines of research. Furthermore, the idea that climate change is a ploy to manipulate Christians is unfounded and lacks any credible evidence. Climate change is a global issue that affects people of all faiths, cultures, and backgrounds. The scientific community's efforts to understand and address climate change are driven by a desire to protect the planet, ensure human well-being, and promote sustainable development, not to target or manipulate any particular group, including Christians. It is also essential to recognize that many Christians and Christian organizations are actively engaged in climate change advocacy and activism, acknowledging the moral and spiritual imperative to care for the planet and protect the most vulnerable populations. The Pope's encyclical on climate change, Laudato Si, is a powerful example of the Christian community's commitment to environmental stewardship and social justice. Moreover, the claim that climate change is a hoax is often based on a misinterpretation of the scientific method and the concept of uncertainty. Science is not about absolute certainty but rather about probability and the accumulation of evidence. While there may be some uncertainty about the exact magnitude and timing of climate change impacts, the fundamental physics and chemistry underlying the phenomenon are well established and widely accepted. Additionally, the argument that climate change mitigation policies are an attack on Christian values is a false dichotomy. In reality, many climate change solutions, such as transitioning to renewable energy, increasing energy efficiency, and promoting sustainable land use, align with Christian values of stewardship, compassion, and fairness. By addressing climate change, we can also address issues of poverty, inequality, and social justice, which are core concerns of the Christian faith. In conclusion, the science on climate change is not a lie to manipulate Christians or any other group. Scientific consensus on climate change is based on decades of research and evidence, and it is a global issue that requires a collective response. Christians, like people of all faiths, have a moral and spiritual obligation to care for the planet and protect the most vulnerable populations. Rather than perpetuating unfounded claims and conspiracy theories, we should work together to address the climate crisis, promote sustainable development, and ensure a livable future for all. By doing so, we can fulfill our duty as stewards of the earth and uphold the values of compassion, justice, and love that are at the heart of the Christian faith.